On the third day, the fall of Dagon, after the second night had seen them prop the idol back up after having fallen down, prostrate before the Ark of the Covenant, forced there, deliberately placed there by the power of God. The second instance of the fall saw the head broken off and the hands broken off. Now, Dagon was a fish god. It's kind of like a merman. The only human parts of it were the head and the hands, and that's a message in itself and speaks volume. But on the third day, after having propped up that broken, defeated idol on its pedestal again, a second time, the Philistines returned to a scene that they could not explain. They could no longer ignore it. Dagon wasn't just fallen. His head and his hands were severed off, and they're the symbols of thought and power. They were cut off by an invisible hand and laid at the very threshold of the temple floor, the place where common people walked in and out. God didn't just knock Dagon down, he humiliated him. He placed the broken pieces where people's feet would tread, making the so-called God of the Philistines nothing more than a shattered debris underfoot. But look deeper and see what God really did. He took that pagan temple that was once used as a shrine to falsehood and blasphemy, a chamber of deception and a prison cell for the ark, and transformed it into a place of divine confrontation. What was meant to house a lifeless idol became a settling and a setting place for the manifested glory of the living God. That blasphemous sanctuary became, by God's own authority, a throne room of judgment, and the house of Dagon actually became a holiest of holies, not because of architecture, but because of God's presence. And in that sacred moment, God enthroned himself in the midst of enemy territory, not to dwell in peace, but to overthrow every lie and expose every counterfeit power. It was as though God was declaring, "You thought you captured my ark, but I came to conquer your gods." And that temple, once a monument to false worship, was overthrown by the weight of truth. The temple didn't just fall, the temple idol. It bowed. And that temple surrounding it didn't just shake. It witnessed the supremacy of Yahweh. Because wherever God chooses to manifest himself, he reclaims the ground. He sanctifies it by his very presence. He fills it with judgment and power, and even a house of an idol becomes holy. Again, not by design, but by divine invasion. This isn't just the story of a fallen idol. It's a declaration that no lie can stand unchallenged by God, and no false god can remain untouched.